These aren't just fancy tracks dropped into overpriced cities. They're trauma loops with barriers designed to destroy drivers, brakes, and your will to believe in strategy calls. We're talking about modern F1 street circuits, where every corner has a backstory and every DRS zone is just a suggestion. If you're new here, welcome to Formula One, where we race through cities and regret it later. And if you've been around a while, you probably still have PTSD from Baku 2021 or watching Ferrari strategize in Monaco. Get ready. This is part roast, part therapy, all chaos. Let's go. First stop, Monaco. Overtaking here isn't just rare, it's basically illegal by vibe. The track is so narrow it feels like the cars were designed for another century. Because, well, they were. Monaco hasn't changed since phones flipped and strategy meant hit once and pray. But still, it's iconic. Win here and you're instantly mythologized, even if your race looked like a 78-lap Sunday drive. Just ask Daniel Ricciardo. In 2018, half his engine quit mid-race. The man had no power, no turbo, no chance, and still won, because no one could get past. He turned Monaco into his own personal slow-motion highlight reel. The circuit itself? A billionaire go-kart track. Barriers inches away. One mistake and you're toast. Blink in the tunnel and the curse activates. And what if you're Charles Leclerc? Well, Monaco is a yearly emotional assassination attempt. Fans act like they love it for the tradition. But let's be honest, nobody watches Monaco for the racing. We're here for the grid walks, the memes, and the inevitable Ferrari meltdown. Monaco isn't about speed at all. It's about surviving the world's fanciest game of don't touch the curbs. Next stop, Singapore. Singapore is not a race. It's a test of willpower disguised as a nighttime carnival of lights and suffering. It's humid. It's hot. It goes on forever. Drivers lose kilos in sweat and probably parts of their soul by lap 40. You want glamour? Sure. You also get dehydration, exhaustion, and the ever-present fear of hitting a wall during one of 23 corners. This track is famous for chewing up focus and spitting out safety cars. Statistically speaking, if you're watching Singapore, you're also watching Bernd Maylander do laps in the safety car. If there's not a safety car, something's wrong. Call race control. But nothing, and I mean nothing, will ever beat 2008 Crashgate. Nelson Piquet Jr. accidentally bins it. Alonso gets the dub, Renault gets investigated, and F1 history gets its most high-profile act of scripted chaos. It's WWE with carbon fiber. Fans love this race like a fever dream. They show up knowing it's going to be long, intense, and probably traumatizing. It's beautiful, brutal, and if your brain isn't ready, Marina Bay will fry it, just like Kimi's brakes in 2017. Next stop, Baku. Baku is what happens when you give a street circuit too much horsepower and not enough therapy. 1 minute you're flying down a straight so long it needs its own passport, the next you're threading a 202-mile-per-hour car through a medieval castle like it's an F1 escape room. This track makes no sense, and that's exactly why it's so perfect. It's the only place on Earth where you can go from P10 to P2 because someone sneezed during a safety car restart. Overtaking? Incredible. Accidents? Constant. Logic? Abandoned somewhere around turn 15. Do you need proof? Let's talk about 2017, when the race became a full-on soap opera. Vettel rams Hamilton under the safety car. Ricciardo wins from P10. Stroll gets a podium. Just pure chaos from top to bottom. And then there's 2021. Verstappen crashes from the lead. Hamilton hits the magic button and forgets how brakes work. Perez wins. F1 Twitter combusts. Fans don't watch Baku expecting normality. They come for the miracles, stay for the meltdowns, and leave wondering how Lance Stroll is still alive. This is Mario Kart with billion-dollar machinery, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Next stop, Miami. This isn't a race weekend. It's a marketing strategy with the pit lane. Miami exists so influencers can pretend they know what a downforce package is while standing next to a fake marina filled with depression and filtered selfies. The track itself? It's mid. Built in a parking lot around Hard Rock Stadium, featuring corners that scream "Designed by Committee" and straights that say "Please overtake here, we're begging." It's not Monaco. It's not Baku. It's a PowerPoint presentation with apexes. But the chaos? Delicious. In 2022, the hype was louder than the engines. In 2023, we got rain, drama, and a driver intro that felt like a WWE crossover episode. LL Cool J introduced the grid. will.i.am composed the theme. Martin Brundle almost fought a security guard. Again. Fan sentiment? It's split. Half of F1 Twitter is thirsting over drivers in pastel shirts. The other half is screaming, "Why are we racing next to a food court?" Miami is less about racing and more about the vibe. And the vibe is, can someone please tell Max to slow down for once so we can see an actual battle? Still, if you like your Grand Prix with a side of influencer nonsense, paddock drama, and crocodiles somewhere nearby, Miami's your spot. Next stop, Jeddah or Baku on steroids. Jeddah isn't a street circuit. It's a high-speed panic attack with DRS. Jeddah is the fastest street track in F1, and probably the closest the sport has ever come to legally sanctioning a death wish. The speeds are immense. Blind corners everywhere. Concrete walls? Right there. Always. It's like threading a needle, while the needle is going 310 kilometers per hour and actively trying to kill you. This is the track where you don't breathe until the race is over, and even then, you're just grateful everyone still has 4 tires and 1 functioning brain cell. Iconic moment? 2021. The Verstappen versus Hamilton demolition derby. Brake checks, red flags, dive bombs from another dimension. The FIA was just flipping coins and praying. And fans, nobody actually feels safe watching this, not even from their couch. But we keep tuning in because every lap is a bet against fate. This is where championships tilt, tempers explode, and radio messages get real spicy real fast. Jeddah is what happens when Baku, Monaco, and an Xbox crash all get thrown into a blender, then someone drinks it and calls it a racetrack. Next stop, Las Vegas, where the track is cold, but the takes are flaming hot. The newest addition to the F1 calendar came in guns blazing. Lights, fireworks, showgirls, and a pre-race ceremony that felt like Cirque du Soleil had a baby with Liberty Media's marketing team. Vegas by night, chaos by design. This race is 50% motorsport and 50% HBO special. Drivers rolling down the street under neon lights while DJ Snake plays somewhere in the distance. It's not a Grand Prix. It's a fever dream with tire blankets. Now, the track itself? Long straights, 90-degree corners, and temps so cold you'd think Pirelli was sponsoring an ice rink. The tires don't grip, the brakes don't bite, and everyone's pretending that's totally fine. Remember FP1? Yeah, manhole cover says hi. The asphalt trying to eat Carlos Sainz's car. Welcome to Vegas, baby. Racing-wise, it's not bad. Plenty of overtakes, plenty of "how did he survive that" moments, but also a level of randomness that feels deliberate. Like the scriptwriters wanted one more plot twist before Abu Dhabi. Fan sentiment remains unhinged. Half of us are obsessed with the visuals, the other half are calculating how much money was spent for 3 laps of warm-up tire chaos. But no matter where you stand, you watched it. You talked about it. You tweeted something thirst-adjacent about the drivers in tuxedos. Las Vegas may not be perfect, but it's already iconic on its own. Glitchy, American way. A high-speed gamble where everything's shiny, nothing makes sense, and someone always ends up in the wall or on TikTok. Next stop, Melbourne. Albert Park is where the season used to begin, where dreams were born and power units died on lap 1. It's technically a street circuit, but with more grass, more runoff, and less trauma than Jeddah or Monaco. So, street circuit light. Diet chaos. this track looks chill, but it's not. The layout got reworked in 2022, and suddenly overtaking became a thing again. Sorta. Kinda. Okay, let's be honest. It's still tricky unless DRS is feeling generous and the guy ahead forgot to charge his battery. Melbourne's also cursed in its own polite Australian way. Remember 2023? 4 red flags, 3 standing starts. Kevin Magnussen's tire just noped off his car and caused an explosion of debris. Half the grid was out by the end, and no one knew who actually finished where. FIA included. And don't forget the Sebastian Vettel on a scooter moment. That wasn't a retirement lap, that was a statement. Fan sentiment? Big love. Great crowd, solid racing when it happens, and a vibe that screams, "We've been awake since 3 a.m. to watch this, it better deliver." And sometimes it does. Sometimes it ends in lawsuits. Albert Park is tradition. It's the awkward friend of street circuits. It doesn't really fit the category, but you invite it anyway because deep down, you know the party's better when it's there. Next stop, Montreal, where the wall has a body count. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is the street circuit that pretends to be civilized and then throws your favorite driver into the wall at turn 14. This place looks simple on paper. Long straights, heavy braking zones, a chicane or two to keep things spicy. But in reality, it's a trap. The Wall of Champions doesn't discriminate. Schumacher, Vettel, Button, Hamilton, even Damon Hill, all of them have tasted its cold Canadian justice. It's fast, it's old school, and it's got the kind of chaos energy that starts subtle and then hits you with 3 DNFs and a rogue groundhog by lap 12. Yup, the groundhogs are real. And yes, they have better racecraft than some midfield drivers. Famous moment? Take your pick. 2011, the longest race in F1 history. 4 hours, rain delays, crashes, safety cars, red flags, and then Jenson Button wins it from the back. It's the only time an F1 broadcast needed an intermission and snacks. The fans love this race like Canadians love apologizing. It's tradition. It's unpredictable. It's the one time a year where Canada becomes a hotbed of F1 memes, DRS battles, and tire strategy meltdowns. Montreal is proof that you don't need glitz or fake marinas to make a great street circuit. You just need fast straights, good fans, and a wall that eats world champions for breakfast. Final stop, Sochi, the forgotten snooze fest. Sochi is the track that technically counts as a street circuit because someone once parked near it. Built around a tech park and an Olympic village no one remembers, Sochi had the vibe of a sterile PowerPoint slide with apexes. Let's be real, this place was never anyone's favorite. It was flat, wide, and somehow both too fast and too boring. The racing felt like a group project where nobody tried, and yet, every now and then, it delivered absolute chaos. Like 2021, Lando Norris leading in the rain, victory in sight. McLaren forgets what umbrellas are. Hamilton swoops in, Lando spins, F1 Twitter cries. The chaos was glorious, the heartbreak, chef's kiss. Before that, Sochi was Mercedes' private playground. They won every race there until Max Verstappen showed up and said, "Not today, comrades." Even then, it never quite shook its reputation as the place where overtakes went to die. Fan sentiment is somewhere between meh and please delete. But for a track that looked like it was designed during a lunch break, it somehow left a dent in F1 history. Sometimes from pure boredom, sometimes from absolute madness. Sochi's gone now, removed from the calendar, but it lives on in the group chats, the strategy memes, and that one collective sigh when someone says, "Remember when Lando almost won in 2021? And that's every modern F1 street circuit explained, mildly roasted, and emotionally processed. Now it's your turn. Which one is your favorite? Which one do you secretly hate? And which one do you think is just Monaco but with extra steps?